The W14's long-awaited update package has finally shown up. Last weekend in Monaco, the W14 Formula 1 car was incredible, after it produced a P4 and P5 for the team. This weekend's main test will take place in Spain, and team boss Toto Wolff, along with Russell and Hamilton, have all highlighted what they have learned from the new concept, as well as when we can anticipate Mercedes to compete for victories, and whether it will happen soon this season. Is the updated W14 capable of passing the test? What specifically were the significant developments that sparked their resurgence? Will it be sufficient to contend for a race victory in Spain? Barcelona is the next major challenge, and Mercedes identified this race as the one to which we should pay the most attention. Mostly because it is more conventional and provides a clearer sense of what the new enhancements have specifically added to the automobile thus far. The balance of the car and the lack of rear downforce, which are complementary and often go together in a car's performance, are the main problems that Mercedes has to address with this enormous package. Mercedes wants to know how the car works in the first place more than anything, though. According to remarks made by Russell and Hamilton, the car has been performing well on one part of the circuit while acting completely differently on the next. This is not helpful if you want to compete against Red Bull's cars for race victories. However, based on the initial view from Monaco, the car is now placed correctly. There has been significant progress since they discovered the ideal foundation. Still, it's insufficient to consistently compete with the best teams for victories. Although it might seem like a challenge, it's not impossible to close the gap that Red Bull has created. The side pods and front suspension were the obvious talking topics, but there were also some intriguing detail changes that came up. The pickup point on the lead arm of the upper wishbone at the chassis end marked the main difference in the new front suspension system. Instead of being around 10 centimeters below that line as it was previously, the arm is now positioned on the top corner of the chassis. It goes without saying that this will have an impact on the front suspension's mechanical performance, as well as the car's overall dynamics. Alongside the chassis, and behind the area where Mercedes still mounts a pair of downwash canards, a new floor vane has also surfaced. The vane and the canards are acceptable since they are part of the box region connected to the chassis, indicating that the W14's chassis does not occupy the entire allocated space. The arm now more closely matches the angle of the other sections, which are all used to direct airflow down and around the side pods, so there are undoubtedly some aerodynamic advantages as well. The fairings for the suspension component and Mercedes' chassis blister seem to have been altered to benefit from this. The blister, which was initially implemented as a part of an upgrade package for the British Grand Prix last season, seems to be less steeply tilted than before, to better fit with the modified location of the upper wishbone's lead arm. This will assist in creating the flow structures necessary to benefit from the modifications made to the bodywork downstream. In a team press release, team manager Toto Wolff made this statement: "It's impossible to evaluate our upgrades on a circuit like Monaco, but at least we didn't have any nasty surprises. Spain will provide an opportunity for us to establish a new baseline with the W14. It is a track that we are familiar with, although the removal of the final chicane will make it a much quicker lap. It comprises a wide range of corner types. That provides a good opportunity for us to learn about the new package. We don't expect to see a step change in performance, but we're hopeful it will provide a more stable platform." Due to the nature of the Monaco Grand Prix, and the fact that drivers are unable to push the vehicle to its full limits, it is yet uncertain how much the changes have improved the performance of the W14. Yes, the circuit has tremendous downforce, which indicates that Mercedes should make significant improvements in this area in the upcoming races. It should also be a significant improvement in Barcelona, where the circuit has medium to high downforce demands for the cars. The upcoming Grand Prix is expected to show exactly what the Mercedes team is capable of when it comes to winning races when it is least expected. Wolff had to warn the public and his team's supporters once more not to hold out hope for miracles after the Barcelona Grand Prix, since the extensive surgery they've had to make on the vehicle will take longer to fix. "I think Barcelona is not enough. I think we need to collect data. That's why we put it also here in Monaco, and to collect further analysis, which we will do in Barcelona. The next one, Montreal, is a little bit of an outlier again, but over the next races, hopefully we can really increase the performance of the car, but it's not going to suddenly be right there. That's why I'm actually pleased with the time gap that we had in Monaco. It was always a mediocre track for us, so that's okay." After the Grand Prix weekend, Mercedes will remain in Barcelona for a few additional days. Testing of Pirelli tires is scheduled for Tuesday and Wednesday. Mick Schumacher, the test and backup driver, will have his first opportunity to operate a Mercedes on the second day. After the Grand Prix weekend, Mick will also get his first real-world taste of the W14 on the second day of the Pirelli tire test. He has done a great job with the team so far, working hard back in the simulator and giving valuable input trackside. We're looking forward to him getting his first taste of on-track running this year, and sure it will help him in his role as reserve driver, said Toto Wolff. On the last video of Mercedes, Mick had this to say about the upcoming events. Barcelona has always been in the top list of preferred tracks for most teams. It used to be the track where most teams went for pre-season testing, which meant it kind of became the standard place to be in and try out new things. When we talk about the feel in the car, it usually just means how connected are we to it. How much confidence does the car give us? And that's usually relatable to how the setup is of the car. How does the tarmac feel? How does the track in general comply with what we expected? For the Spanish GP in 2023, Formula One has confirmed that the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya would revert to its original final sector configuration, donning a speedier finish to the circuit and removing the last chicane. Having changed the Barcelona layout, usually that will have as an impact the speed of the track. It'll increase massively, we'll obviously lose that chicane, which is probably the slowest part of the track, so that will mean quite a lot more stress on the left side of the car. The greatest necessary improvement must wait, even though the team has made significant upgrades to the vehicle. Due of cost restrictions, Mercedes will have to wait until 2024 to make the most important upgrade to their vehicle. According to Mercedes CEO Toto Wolff, the team won't be able to supply a new Formula One chassis for the 2023 campaign. A chassis alteration and re-homologation by the FIA would typically be required for such a huge increase, but according to Wolff, this is just not possible. If we were not in cost cap land, we would have introduced another chassis, which we can't, Wolff said. What we did is a fundamental shift in the design direction, the way we generate grip mechanically and aerodynamically. We are very immature in our understanding of the current car, and therefore we expect upgrades to come regularly within the financial parameters that exist. But everybody should be under the same constraints. Barcelona is not enough to know where we need to improve, as we need to collect data. That's why we put it on the car in Monaco to collect further analysis. We will do that in Barcelona, which is the next race. Montreal is a little bit of an outlier again, and over the next races, hopefully we can really increase the performance of the car, but it's not going to suddenly be right there. We haven't changed the nastiness of the rear of the car. We need to dial that out, which we will. But it is a long road, he said. Are we able to win a race this year? I would very much hope that we can get ourselves back to the front and fight, but there's more variables today with the other teams. We just need to aim to win and push into the race for the championship. How far they can actually push Red Bull in the remaining 2023 season will depend on their ability. Only time will tell. But Barcelona, the circuit where they were able to resolve the poor pace problem and where the W13 looked to be a different car, will serve as the first real test. And ironically, we hope that this is the track where the team is able to generate more downforce and demonstrate that their 8 consecutive Constructors' Championship victories were not the result of sheer luck.